Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Descendants and Zombies is a passion, and that's how this all began. 10 years ago, everybody loved Descendants and Zombies so much, and it's been 10 years that I will never ever forget. Having the honor of being the host of this show not only gave me the chance to talk about Descendants and Zombies, I got to know so many wonderful fans of Descendants and Zombies who would eventually subscribe here. And ever since people have been subscribing to this YouTube channel, I have dedicated the rest of my life to uploading videos of Descendants and Zombies to the people who matter, and for the people who believe in Descendants and Zombies so much. And for that, I just simply want to say thank you so much for making this YouTube channel the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world. This is the most popular podcast that has anything to do or related to Descendants and Zombies in the world right now, with people subscribing to this YouTube channel every day. And I can't even begin to put into words how appreciative I am of each and every one of you, because I really do believe we each have a reason, a sole reason, or a sole purpose as to why we are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. We're a fan of Clarke and Terrell. We may be a fan of Malia Baker. We may be a fan of the music. We all have a favorite song, a favorite character, a moment that made us a fan of Descendants and Zombies that we can share in together, that made us the best of friends. Because everyday conversations now start with, are you a fan of Descendants and Zombies? That's all anybody cares about, is if somebody's a fan of Descendants and Zombies because they are a fan of Descendants and Zombies and they're searching for that one best friend that they can remain friends with for the rest of their lives. And that's what makes this so special. That's what makes this show so special. An honor for me to record. Do I have any regrets for having recorded over 500 videos plus about Descendants and Zombies? No, I most certainly don't. Because I had the honor of meeting so many wonderful people who each had a reason, a specific reason they wanted the world to know why they were a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Perhaps they were a fan of Freya Sky, excited about the Silent Treatment release coming up on December 2nd. Perhaps they were a fan of the Worlds Collide Tour and they had the honor of attending it, which many of you did. And I saw a lot of your videos about your outfits, how you had so much fun at the Worlds Collide Tour. You guys had the time of your life, so I don't think you really cared if there was a critic in the venue that you were attending, reviewing the Worlds Collide Tour the way that they were, but I took exception to that. And I uploaded a bunch of videos about how I believe the fans were the reason why the Worlds Collide Tour took off, the reason why the Worlds Collide Tour had exploded. Because so many people had chosen to criticize the ticket prices starting up as high as $200, the quality of the merchandise, how the tour didn't live up to a certain criteria or their expectations. But as far as I was concerned, the tour exceeded all of my expectations. Everything that Freya Sky and Clarke and Terrell had happening for them exceeded all of my expectations hands down. And I felt so honored to be a part of it. And I felt like if I was going to review the Worlds Collide Tour, I was going to review it with such prestige to give you guys hope for Leg 2, because there's been a lot of rumors about Leg 2 happening, and apparently it's going to be an overseas tour that's going to last up to 2 months. But the cool thing about this tour is people in Australia, the UK, and Germany will have something to be excited about, and we too, as fans of Descendants and Zombies in Canada and the US and everywhere in the world, will have something to be excited about and to discuss. Because I think every fan of Descendants and Zombies has never wanted to say goodbye to these franchises, as much as critics suggest that we have to say goodbye. I don't think we've ever wanted to say goodbye, and perhaps this has something to do with how I was always a fan of every generation of Disney and every franchise they may have been promoting over the last 20 years, from Hannah Montana to Sweet Life of Zack and Cody to Wizards of Waverly Place, Phineas and Ferb, Kim Possible, Hercules, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, Timon and Pumbaa. I can go on for forever. Darkwing Duck, Bonkers. I've been a fan of everything. And each franchise that I've been a fan of for the last 25 years at least, I've never wanted to say goodbye to. I think that every moment in Descendants and Zombies history is a moment worth celebrating. From the birthday celebrations that we throw for Meg Donnelly and Clarke and Terrell all the time, to talking about Dove Cameron and how much she meant to this franchise, because Dove Cameron was the girl who made me a superstar overnight. And then came Clarke and Terrell, and I fell in love with Clarke and Terrell. But I think ever before Descendants was in a conversation, I was a fan of Clarke and Terrell, because I remember her YouTube show and how big of a fan I was of it, because she was reviewing all of my favorite shows when I was probably about 25 years old. I was watching Sam and Cat, I was watching Victorious because I wanted incentive. And I saw incentive from Sam and Cat because of how Ariana Grande took a character like Cat Valentine, and she was able to separate Cat Valentine with character traits that were undeniable and character traits that you couldn't help but fall in love with. She was just one of these characters that you just couldn't help but fall in love with. Now, how she was treated on the set of Nickelodeon was something that I never really agreed with, and I thought she deserved better treatment. I will say that. But how she could take this character and make this character so special apart from every other character that Nickelodeon may have been promoting at that same time in that era was truly phenomenal. And then, of course, Kylie Cantrell reviewing these shows, I couldn't help but fall in love with her show. I felt special. I felt like I was a part of something special talking about Kylie Cantrell's show. And I wanted to see more of Kylie Cantrell. I wanted more opportunities to be given to Kylie Cantrell and to be shown to Kylie Cantrell because I wanted people to take more of a chance on the girl with the gap in her teeth, which is a pretty lazy way of referring to Kylie Cantrell without even giving her much of a chance. Let me just say this. Kylie Cantrell does not owe anybody an explanation as to why Kylie Cantrell is the way she is, for having a gap in her teeth, for feeling the way that she does about politics and certain issues in her lifetime. I think that everybody is different, and everybody is special in their own unique way. And all Kylie Cantrell ever wanted was to be received with love and with a certain passion from fans. And you guys accepted Kylie Cantrell into your lives as the character read, and you guys took her and made her into a superstar overnight because of her desire to want to dance and sing as part of this huge production that Disney was putting off. And I think that every venue at the Worlds Collide Tour was set on fire because of what Kylie Cantrell offered to it and made it so extra special. And I think that how she was able to work with everybody that she was a part of this production, that was amazing too. Because look what she did for Freya Sky. She performed on the same stage as Freya Sky for a number of these dance numbers. And I mean, they were able to bring it to life in a way that nobody else was able to bring it to life. So do I think that people like Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky deserve all the criticism they are subjected to? Most certainly I don't. And I think that if we're going to talk about Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky, we should turn on our recording program every morning and we should say something nice to give people hope for the foreseeable future, to make you believe that Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour is going to happen regardless of how the critics are trying to make you guys feel. You guys do know that a critic is paid up in high amounts to get reactions out of each and every one of you. And if they don't get the reactions out of you they're trying to receive, which you pretty much give them all the time, then they become very upset and they become very frustrated with their content because then they go back to the drawing board and they try to figure out, what can I do to get a reaction out of somebody that I didn't succeed in getting the first time. I think that the more that we shut out these critics and don't give them the reactions they want, then that is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to do, because I'm far from a critic. I'm just like each and every one of you. I don't know what's going to happen next in Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland, or Zombies 5. All I can offer you is my predictions. And I've enjoyed sharing with you my predictions and what made me a fan of Descendants and Zombies. It was the undeniable passion that I got each time that I saw Dove Cameron, Kylie Cantrell perform, and how they would show up each and every single time with so much heart and dedication, just wanting to be a part of these huge musicals they had dreamed at one point or another of being a part of. Because I don't care who they are, Dove Cameron, Kylie Cantrell, who we talk about all the time, there was a point in time in their lifetime when they just wanted to be a part of Descendants and Zombies. So because of how fans responded to them, while critics were choosing to criticize them without even giving them much of a chance, it was the fan response that turned them into a global sensation overnight, and why more people know who they are than ever before. Because I'll be honest with each and every one of you, before Descendants and Zombies, I didn't know who Dove Cameron was. I didn't know who Kylie Cantrell was. I had watched Kylie Cantrell on her YouTube channel. If not for Kylie Cantrell's YouTube channel, I wouldn't have a clue who Kylie Cantrell is. But when I saw her on her YouTube channel, and I saw Dove Cameron on Descendants, I fell in love with them because of just how much passion they have brought to the stage. I think that every event they've ever been a part of, promoting their EPs or Descendants of Zombies, has been so much fun to experience. And I think you guys deserve to have the time of your life at the Worlds Collide Tour. And do I think with how many people were shut out of the opportunity of attending the Worlds Collide Tour in places like Fort Worth, Texas, should have an opportunity to experience Leg 2, even if they have to travel overseas? Sure I do, because I think that everybody saw something special in Descendants and Zombies. Now, while High School Musical and Hannah Montana did have their own on-stage productions over 15 years ago, I don't think that Hannah Montana and High School Musical were received the same way that Descendants and Zombies were. And I mean, we've had this conversation time and time again. You guys know how I felt about Hannah Montana. I was the biggest Hannah Montana fan in the world, but I didn't receive that same kind of message from Hannah Montana's music or Hannah Montana's on-stage productions like I got from Descendants of Zombies, because I go back to that Night at the Worlds Collide tour where Kylie Control opened up the tour with how dreams can happen for everybody. She said that because she believed in that so much, and she believed that dreams could happen for everybody, and I like to believe that everybody took something special away from that tour because they too believed that a dream could happen for them. And that's all I've ever wanted to instill in everybody's minds who watch these videos, is that dreams can happen for you regardless of what that dream is, because many of us have a dream. Many of us realize our dreams, and many of us don't realize our dreams before some people do, but I think eventually we all do realize our dream. And when we get to a point where we realize that the dream is coming to fruition, and we sit back and we say, oh my God, is this really happening for me? That's when it all comes into fruition and everything really comes full circle. I think that Kylie Control is destined for greatness. I think Freya Sky is destined for greatness. I have forever always advocated for Freya Sky to become the next Taylor Swift. And I say this because the conversation is always about Ariana Grande and her performance in Wicked for Good. I get that because of how popular the musical Wicked is. It's number 2 on the most popular musicals of all time. Number 1 is occupied by The Lion King. And it's pretty obvious why The Lion King is the number 1 musical of all time. But Wicked is receiving so much severity because of just how Ariana Grande is in one of the lead roles as Belinda the Good Witch. And of course how Ariana Grande had to lose so much weight to have this role. I think that the conversation is always a revolving door about the same 3 or 4 celebrities. Most recently, I heard all these rumors about Sabrina Carpenter even being given an opportunity to be in a new Marvel movie, which I feel very differently about, because I think that there's way too much conversation about Sabrina Carpenter playing Alice in Wonderland or Rapunzel or this character or that character. I think more of the conversation has to be about Kylie Control, and more of a chance has to be taken on Kylie Control. Do you guys think that I've noticed the gap in her teeth? Out of everything that I could have noticed about Kylie Control, do you guys really think I care about the gap in her teeth? I love seeing your Descendants of Zombie stars having fun. And I love talking about your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars because I love seeing them have fun. I think there's never enough opportunity for them to have fun. I think there's never enough of a chance for us to talk about Descendants of Zombies because there's always a chance to keep this conversation going, because the way I believe that this story should go is that this story should never be over. I've never wanted to say goodbye to Descendants of Zombies. I've always believed in Descendants of Zombies because I, approach this with so much passion and so much heart and so much dedication. You guys believed in this YouTube channel so much that I just kept investing my time, my money, and my effort into creating these videos for you guys, because you guys are what matters. You guys are what has made Descendants of Zombies into such a huge sensation, a global phenomenon, and you guys deserve all the respect in the world with each review that is ever uploaded here. About Freya Sky, about Kylie Control, because I can go on forever about how I feel about Kylie Control and how I feel about Freya Sky, because I think their futures, their stars, are shining brighter than ever before. If there ever were 2 stars in any constellation that are shining brighter than ever before, it's the stars of Kylie Control and Freya Sky. I'm really excited about the upcoming release of Freya Sky's new single Silent Treatment, because I think that it's going to achieve so much severity for her. It's going to put her in a position that she's going to take over because of. And I think forever this conversation about her being the next Taylor Swift and becoming it should continue on through the annals of time. Because I think that, yes, Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires may have been her first major movie role, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to see her have more movie roles in the foreseeable future. And roles that I'm extremely excited to talk about, because I think that there was so much effort to bring this character Nova to life. That's what was so special about Freya Sky's character Nova, was that we didn't really know much about her, and we still don't know much about her. So because we don't know much about her, what that means is there is an opportunity to create a new story for Zombies 5. Regardless of when and how it happens and how it's derived, there is still so much of a story to be told, not just between Freya Sky, but also between Freya Sky and Malachi Burton, because their friendship is always put on display. They're so appreciative of each other, and I think it's deserving to be talked about, because when you have such a huge fan response for the new cast of Zombies, and everybody's so excited about Zombies 5, which is very apparent to me, I think that this conversation needs to happen. We need to have these conversations. And while having these conversations, we need to let everybody know that Zombies 5 is going to happen regardless of how a critic feels or thinks. Because there are so many critics out there that are going to tell you that Zombies 5 is not going to happen. So many people were kicked out of the cast of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. I mean, who really believes that? I mean, anything a critic can do to start a rumor about a friendship or how two people feel about each other and the chemistry's not really there. I've seen and I've heard it all. The only truth that came from what a critic said years ago was about Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment's relationship, because I read it in the Miles to Go autobiography of Miley Cyrus years ago about how they really didn't see eye to eye working on the set of Hannah Montana. And critics were saying for forever that Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment just couldn't stand each other, and I refused to believe that. Even then, I refused to believe that. But it may have taken Disney years to really find chemistry for, a franchise like Descendants of Zombies, a production as valuable as Descendants of Zombies. But now that they finally found it, I think it's something worth keeping as a part of all of our lives. And I think it's something worth promoting. And something just to be really excited about, because I've been a fan of every major musical that there's been. Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Phantom of the Opera, Wicked, The Lion King. Ever since at least 1997, I've been a fan of musicals. And I know that's really uncharacteristic for a guy to say at a show and openly admit with an open heart and an open mind, but I think that if you're a fan of musicals, you should be proud to say that you're a fan of musicals. I think that there's so much of a conversation to be had. This conversation never has to be over. So because this conversation never has to be over, we need to encourage people to believe in your favorite characters and your favorite moments that have made you a fan of Descendants and Zombies for what feels like forever. Because this has been so much fun to talk about. I'm excited to attend the Wicked for Good musical this Sunday, because I think that these are moments that are meant to last for forever. So because these are moments that last for forever, that are meant to last for forever, and moments that only happen once for every lifetime, these are moments that we should forever and always cherish and reserve a special place in our hearts for. And the same logic applies to Descendants and Zombies. If you believe in Descendants and Zombies as much as what you have, then it deserves to be encouraged, and you deserve to feel inspired. You should feel a part as if you're a part of something special. Because I know I felt as if I'm a part of something special ever since I had the first opportunity in my life to talk about Descendants and Zombies and discover the power behind Descendants and Zombies. There was so much heart, there was so much dedication. Everybody believed in all these characters like Clarke and Cheryl, Malia Baker, Freya Skye, Malachi Burton. And they believed in them because they were passionate about each other. And they helped each other through every difficult time and every difficult turn in each and every one of their lives. They were there for each other from the very beginning. I remember this one phone call that Freya Skye and Malachi Burton shared at like 3 a.m. in the morning, because she was feeling very doubtful of her direction of the character Nova. And she was wondering if she was living up to the criteria of the writers and producers of Zombies 4, and she was kind of really nervous about the Worlds Collide tour, her upcoming tour individually, and Malachi Burton was just calming her down. I wish more of this would happen in the entertainment industry, and I wish more people would become the best of friends, because we can never see enough of this in our lifetimes. And I think because we can never see enough of this in our lifetimes, it is really valuable, the friends that we see coming in and out of our lives. Because if there's one thing that's ever been put on display and to be recognized and to be highlighted from Descendants and Zombies in these conversations we have, are just how precious these friendships are, because they don't seem to happen all the time. And when they do, it's something to really enjoy, and it's really something to marvel in, which is why I've been forever appreciative of being the host of this show and had no regrets. I love talking about Descendants and Zombies with the fans who have forever and always held a special place in their hearts because of Descendants and Zombies, and that's why this show will forever and always be here, because of each and every one of you, because of how much you believe in these franchises and love hearing me talk about franchises that have gone on to captivate my heart and hold a special place in my heart. And I say this because I've been a fan of musicals for pretty much all of my lifetime. And because I've been a fan of musicals for pretty much all of my lifetime, I've enjoyed talking about musicals like The Sound of Music, Phantom of the Opera, Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and High School Musical. And I've enjoyed even more talking about Descendants and Zombies with each and every one of you, because Descendants and Zombies has obviously held a very special place in each and every one of your hearts. And I want you guys to know that I will forever and always support you as fans of Descendants and Zombies, your passions for collecting the dolls, attending events like the Worlds Collide Tour, and feeling very passionate as you do, about Descendants and Zombies, because I'm here to tell you guys there is nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants and Zombies. If you believe mermaids is going to happen in Descendants 5 or Zombies 5, then you should. And I think that if you have a prediction to be made about Descendants, then you should make that prediction and feel confident in your predictions. Because I too think that mermaids will be cool for Zombies 5. I think that more fairy tale characters seeing their introduction into the Descendants franchise is needed. Because, having an emphasis on 3 or 4 characters may be cool at this point in time, but wouldn't you like to see more characters in the franchise? Wouldn't you at least like to see a director who's just as dedicated to directing this thing as you are watching it, being a fan of it? Because everybody has a reason for being a fan of Descendants and Zombies. I don't care who you are. Everybody's had a reason for falling in love with these franchises, and I think that's a conversation that we need to keep having on this show, and that's why the show was created, for fans who believe in Descendants and Zombies as much as what they have. Guys, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for having watched this show. Thank you so much for allowing me to have been a part of each and every one of your lives as your voice of Descendants and Zombies. We will pick up this conversation right where we left off on the next episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs coming your way in just a few hours from now. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to go ahead and get that out of the way right now because we have a lot to get into and a lot to discuss about the foreseeable future of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars and the franchises you grew up around, the franchises you know and love, and franchises that you've known and loved that have deserved far more respect than ever given credit for. And it's about time somebody hosted a show and produced that show for you that had meaning and incentive behind it, because you guys have really given me authenticity as the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world right now, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for allowing me to have come into and been a part of your lives as your voice of Descendants and Zombies for a very long time. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will pick up this conversation right where we left off next time on this YouTube channel, the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.